Story up here is that the work that's been done up here, most of it was pretty good work, but a lot of it was, I don't know if hasty is quite the right word, but I think we've got a better understanding based on our work in Saskatchewan, better understanding of the geology. So now we're looking more at a bit more of a structural story. So we're trying to figure out what the plunge is, what's the attitude on these veins, because that's where the real money is going to be in these things. If you can figure out the plunge on these veins and figure out a place where you can drill a hole that's maybe a little bit off attitude to try to hit these things at depth, that's where the story is going to be.
Just explaining a little bit about what a effective channel sample is like. Channels are supposed to kind of give us the best surface representation of what the mineralization is, and it's really important that it's consistent in width and consistent in depth. And this is a really good example of a nice channel.
And then we put in some soil geochem grids. Soil geochemistry works great up here because if there's any gold in the bedrock, the soils are generally quite thin and well enough developed that you can get the gold out of it. And then once you find a gold anomaly in the soils, we'll either go in there and trench it, or sometimes it'll be good enough as a standalone target. And then you bring in the drill. And ideally what we're looking for is a place where you've got a showing with a decent sized vein with some good mineralization in it. We know the trend of it, and then we'll put in the soil geochem and we'll get some hits on the soil geochem grid. And when we plot the soil geochem up, it'll make sense geologically. Hey, it looks like here's the vein we know is here. It looks like there's 2 or 3 or 4 more of these veins that are stacked up behind it. And then we'll come in with the drill and we'll set up. If this is the showing over here and we've got 3 lines of geochem that look good, then we'll set up over here. If the vein's dipping like this, and we'll drill a long hole and we'll try to intercept all those veins. And typically our experience in Saskatchewan is what you see on the surface is, it's an indication there's something there, but if there's going to be a deposit here or something significant, it's going to be found at depth. So basically, we're not going to sit back and drill a super shallow hole to try to hit that mineralization. We're going to step back and try to hit a bunch of these veins and try to hit it at depth, because that's where the real joy is going to be.
My name is Sherman Dahl. I'm the CEO of SKRR Exploration. Very excited to be here today. And I guess I'd like to say a couple things. What I'm going to talk about is just a very brief introduction to SKRR. I'm going to talk, I think, spend a few minutes just talking in general about how to be a successful investor and what you need to really look for in a company. We've got some really quality backup to that, and that's why you've joined the Metal Investor Forum today. Individuals like Chen Ling, Eric Coffin, Matt and his whole team, they just provide a tremendous forum for you to learn how to properly make money in the resource sector. We've had a wonderful year. Robert Friedland said it was revenge of the miners, and we seem to be there. So remember, as Warren Buffett said, that in the long term, the market is a weighing machine. In the short term, it's a bit of a voting machine. So we've got a little of that going on right now. Volatility. So as individual retail investors, it's really important to stay focused and stay committed in the long term and listen to the advice that you're getting from high quality people like Chen Lin and all the presentations that you're going to hear at the Metal Investor Forum. Absolutely fantastic presentation, Claudia. Very impressive with Kodiak and the team. Always had a lot of time for the discovery group. So with that, a little bit about SKRR. We were established a few years ago. The SK stands for Saskatchewan, the R stands for Ron Netolinsky, and the other R stands for McElroy. You guys are in for a great treat. Is going to actually do the majority of the presentation. We're going to focus on 3 things. If you as a successful investor, you need to find a company that has the right people, the right projects, and is available at the right price. And so that's the kind of test that you should put on any individual company that you're looking at buying, and as well as obviously staying overall diversified. So if we look at the quality of people involved with SKR, it's actually, it's quite stunning. Rossel is also our chairman, who has a tremendous track record. We also have meetings to talk about, in particular, the Leyland and the Olsen project really stand out. We have had a discovery hole on the Olsen project. So that video was taken before we started drilling. So we're really pleased that we've got into the Olsen, had a discovery hole, and we're back in there drilling aggressively right now. And I guess the last thing you really have to look at, guys, is the price. And a guy like Chen Lin, he knows what he's doing. We've got like less than a $10 million market cap for the kind of land position we have is really a bargain. So focus on the people, focus on the project, guys, and focus on the price. That's the most important thing.
Right. So SKRR focuses on the exploration of precious metals in Saskatchewan, and for very good reason. It's consistently ranked as one of the top mining jurisdictions in the world. The Fraser Institute has ranked it. I think currently it's number 3. Mining Journal I've recently seen has ranked Saskatchewan as number 1. So it's a great jurisdiction. And what else it has going for it is incredible geologic potential. You've got a proven history of gold production in there. I think that the gold exploration story, though, is something very new. And so if we go to slide 5, I just want to kind of present our thesis for why it is that we're selecting the ground that we are and how we're going. Sorry, the next slide, 6. So this is a feature called the Trans-Hudson Corridor. Now, the Trans-Hudson Corridor is about a 2,500 kilometer long geologic feature. It's about 300 kilometers wide. It runs up the middle of North America. And basically, it's responsible for the 40 million ounce plus deposit Homestake in South Dakota. It's also responsible for the Flin Flon Belt, which is the world-class VMS mining district. And on the gold side, in Saskatchewan, responsible for the multi-million ounce Santoy and CV mines, of which we've got a very strong property package right in that same vicinity. So this is the Trans-Hudson Corridor. It's the focus. It's such an important geologic feature and why it is that we're looking for what we are. If we go to the next slide, I'll just go to 7. So out of so we have 5 projects within the company. It's a land package right now of about 40,000 hectares. The first property that we drilled, and that was in the fall of 2020, was the Olson property. And Sherman already mentioned that we do have a discovery there. So on Olson, we drilled a discovery hole on an area, one of the targets called Point. Now, Point had almost a 40-meter intersection grading just over 1 gram per ton gold. So it also had some very high-grade sections within it. There was a section of 1.5 meters of just under 14 grams per ton. So you're looking at width, you're looking at the potential for very high grade within that zone. This is just a discovery hole. And you saw in the video where they were trenching, this is what led to it. So we had some trenching in there, some geologic mapping, some sampling, get in there with a drill and really see what's at depth. And I think that's an excellent example of how we took our model, and I think we're on to something very special in there. And in fact, we're going to be back drilling on Olson here further this winter. So there's going to be another program coming up, another 12 to 18 holes that will be imminently setting the drill on and going back to see what else we can find in that area. So I think we are onto something there, and that was really what the last program was. Go to the next slide. This is on page 8. So here's a key property that we have. It's called the Leyland Irving Lake property. Now, location, location, location. You can see you're right in the same vicinity. You're within about 5 to 8 kilometers from the CV gold mine, which is Saskatchewan's largest producing gold deposit, and the Santoy. And you can see on the eastern side, basically these zones, these deposits and high grade showing all kind of wrap around a feature in the middle, a granitic plug in the middle. On the eastern side, you have taiga and SKRR mining with the Fisher property, some excellent showing, but all these gold stars you can see on the green property, which is ours, all gold showing. So you're in an area rich with showing and deposits. So we think that this may lead to the next significant discovery in Saskatchewan. So the pedigree is right. We have a very large land package, as big as anybody in the area. So we've just completed a drill program on Leyland, so we're waiting for assays. We've already put out some news. You can see that we have intersected quite juicy looking veins and quartz veins with sulfides. We're waiting yet for the assays to see what they do, but we know that this is the kind of potential this area has. So very excited about it. Next slide, please. 9. So in addition, so those are just a quick introduction to the 2 projects that we've already drilled on and continue to drill. This is what's also next in the pipeline. So we have the Manson Bay property. It sits around 40 kilometers from Flin Flon. It has the old historic Manson Bay gold zone, which is in the intersection of 10 meters of 15 grams per ton gold. So we're looking at the potential to host more high-grade gold at significant widths. We're also in the pipeline later on this year to test the Athingal property, again with some incredible historic holes. One of the better ones being 7.5 meters with 11.5 grams per ton, and Cathro. So these will all be projects that we visit during 2021. No moss is growing underneath Sherman's feet at all. He's extremely keen for us to be very active on these properties. We think that SKRR represents a great opportunity for a new significant discovery in the province of Saskatchewan. So with that, thank you very much for your attention, and I'll pass it back to Chin.